Hello, and welcome back to Irate Productions with Panda Girl and
Catboy.
We are on episode 2 of Forbidden Fruit, The Temptation of Edward Cullen. I remembered the name!
You did. I'd like to point out this book. We have radically different opinions on Twilight. I tend not to approve.
I, on the other hand, I don't love it. I hate the franchise. I can't stand all this kind of Team Edward, Team Jacob stuff. It's crap, let's be perfectly honest here. But I have read the books, and they are far from literally...
Literary genius.
There we go. I can't talk today. So, yeah. But storyline-wise, I enjoyed them. I'll be honest here. So, yeah. But you can tell I'm no fangirl if I'm reading this and making fun of them.
Well, you're certainly no fangirl of this. Oh, I think there is about one, the author.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yes.
Sounds about right.
And this is chapter 2, is interestingly titled, so we have no idea what's going to appear in this chapter. From the obscuring title of Edward.
I believe it's my turn. I believe I'm starting. Since you finished our last chapter.
Help yourself.
Alright then, chapter 2, Edward. The anger faded from my sapphire eyes.
They were dark blue a while ago, you know.
Whatever, I said sweatily.
Told you, she stinks of sweat.
I didn't mean to yell and deride. Thou art too beautiful for that, he said, and for once I didn't feel like cock-dropping the guy for paying me a compliment. Instead, I just smiled.
She does think she's not a bitch, by the way, and she just punches random guys in the death.
I'm Eudard Cullen, he murmured.
She makes this mistake a lot.
He murmured. Who are thee? I cannot even pronounce this. You try.
Altantiana.
Lauren. But you can call me Tiana or maybe Tia. I say Tia because there's two A's at the end of Tia.
And we like to make fun of her.
Yes. I said, feeling shy at the way he was looking at me. I had seen that look in so many male eyes, but never quite as intense or sexy.
Oh god, he's gonna rape you. This is not too far from the truth.
His eyes burned like hot gold velvet in the midday sun, like peonix feathers and rainbows, so gold and magical.
Those famous golden rainbows.
Thou reminds me of bygone times, he said, carefully
Wrenching out.
Carefully retching out a shaking hand and brushing my teeth.
Thy face is like an old painting.
What a compliment!
Thou is
exceptional. What a compliment. You're an old painting.
The Mona Lisa is a very famous thing. And interestingly enough, it's basically just a gender swap version of the artist.
You're not so shanky yourself, but I couldn't help noticing you have a frickin' GF, you ass. I saw you with her in the cafeteria. I notched his hand hard with my long black nails.
I think here that she's scratching his hand to hurt him, but honestly we have no idea.
Anyway, there you go. You can take over from this point. We're about halfway through already, folks.
Thee did notice me then, he purred with a sly grin. I was up against the wall with his face right close to me now. He wanted to sex me, I could tell, and suddenly he was kissing me. I felt like my slim legs would break in half, and my heart expanded like a big balloon. I felt his hands sliding softly down my neck and underneath my top. He stoked my breasts for a few minutes, and his
man carrot!
Just say penis for God's sake, it's less painful for all of us. And his man carrot standing in action and hard as a rock against my legs, as opposed to hard as a carrot. Then he ripped my top and pulled it off me and doped it on the floor. Remember that she is just in a school corridor at the moment. Self-resistance. This is the continuation of Irate Productions. We made out for 10 minutes, and then he tried to take off of my bra, but I pushed him away suddenly, thinking, WTF, Tia? Are you just gonna let this total stranger take off your clocks in school, where anyone could see you? I'd never let a guy kiss me before or touch me, and suddenly I was letting this cheating sicko with a frickin' sick Dr. Evil frickin' laser beams with a frickin' GF grope me? just because he was uber hot with sexy hair and cold as death. You think he's hot because he's cold as death? Yes, that's normal. I was acting like a biatch and a slut, and I was suddenly very ashamed of my actions.
Only suddenly? It only just occurred to her? Evidently.
She's not men's material.
Are you continuing, or is it?
Bastard! Never touch me again, I gasped!
Gaped.
Gape, Stephen. Oh, she's certainly gay. Yeah, I went there. Do you want to continue?
You do Edward so well.
If thou thinks thou can keep thou hands off me, he answered all smug, and I couldn't believe how he made me feel so angry and so aroused at the time. At that moment, I'd never hated any boy more in my whole life, and the worst part of it was he was so freaking hot. I was totally creaming my panties, and he knew it. This was horrible. I felt disgusted with myself, disguised with myself, and turned to leave.
Wait, I need to speak to thee. I know your secret, Tia, he said in a quiet voice.
Gassing into my eyes. Don't you love it when a man gasses into your eyes?
Of course! You're one of my kind. Who made thee? Are you part of a coven or on thou own? What? I said. No, said sharply. Dude, you're insane, and you freaking smell!
He didn't really smell, but I didn't know what else to say.
Die!
My mother always said, if you can't think of something smart to say, don't say anything at all.
I need to prepare myself to say this next time.
Via vampire, Tia!
There we go.
Vampire! But why can't I read thou mind? I thought Bella was the only one, but here thou art. What does this all mean?
He punched the wall with his buckley fist and shouted suddenly furious.
Ah! Ah!
And his eyes flickered red. I schlepped him hard across the face and tried to leave, but he caught my waist. Waist again, people, as in she just took a crap. And as I struggled and tried to hit him again, he caught my hand in midair and hammed me against the for his hand had already made a huge dent in the wall. His face
was blunt and right heavy in mine. My knee came up hard against his massive throbbing giggle stick between his legs.
Dear God! And he
Dropped
dropped over
the
the pan! I broke free and goaded my books.
And started rugging away to math, but Edward hand finished with me. Tia! No! He screamed after me, tearing his shirt off himself in fury and throwing it over my eyes. I lost sight and was behind me, breathing in my ears.
I'm sorry, Tia, he whimpered sadly, picking me up off the floor and gazing mutely into my eyes. I didn't mean to rot thee.
I'm so contemptuous. I apologize. This is just so weird.
You said
And me
it.
both.
You're so freaking weird, you mean?
First sensible thing in the entire story.
I snaped Whitesley as he lay on the floor, so halt and crying with his shirt off, with his pippling body.
If anyone knows what pippling actually means,
Please
tell
comment.
us.
I wanted to forgive him for calling me a vampire. Vampire! I'd heard that one before from preppy losers asking if I sleep in a coffin and suck blood like
Lestat.
Do you know, I just realized it's supposed to be Lestat.
Yeah, I guess.
I only figured that out. Just because I like eyeliner and listen to Linkin Park.
Who are not a gothic band at all. Gothic metal is actually traditionally closer to doom metal on the arc. Like very early Paradise Lost.
And making fun of me and trying to force me against a wall and maybe plunder my crevices. But I didn't. I left him crying on the floor and went to find my class. As I entered math class, I suddenly dropped my box.
See? I just hate it when I drop my box.
Again, in a flash, as a flashing pain burned in my left hand as my birthmark glinted gold for a second.
No joke!
Then I fell over. The pain was suddenly gone, and some weirdo blonde freak called Eric was helping me up and staring at me like a pervert rapist.
She'd know what a pervert rapist looks like.
I kicked him in the shoulder. Kung Fu, Bobby! as he gazed longingly after me, in his frickin' dreams. I sat down at the back of the class, unable to think about anything but my weird encounter with Edward Cullen, wondering what it all could mean.
It doesn't mean anything.
And folks, that is the end of chapter 2.
I need a drink.